The cake is delicate, the cream is cool and silky, and each bite feels softly indulgent, a little moment of pleasure wrapped in simplicity. For the cake base, we'll be using 6 large eggs, pastured eggs are best, sour cream to activate the baking soda, unflavored gelatin from pastured cows, egg white powder to absorb excess moisture and add structure, a pinch of salt, mascarpone cheese or strained cottage cheese. Choose mascarpone cheese if you like a denser cake. Optionally, you can use melted, unsalted butter for added flavor and moisture, baking soda, and as an option for flex carnivores, raw honey can be used. Commercial allulose is usually derived from corn, and stevia can affect hormones, so I choose to keep my sweeteners simple and minimal. And also optional, a small amount of vanilla extract. Let's start by preheating the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we'll separate the eggs. I choose pasture-raised eggs because the hens live in open space, eat a more natural diet, and produce eggs that are richer in nutrients. They tend to have deeper golden yolks, more omega-3s, and a higher level of vitamins like A, D, and K2. They also simply taste better, fuller, creamier, and more satisfying. Now we'll whip our egg whites. Beat them until they're thick and hold stiff peaks. That's what gives this cake its light, tender texture. Egg whites are pure protein, clean, easy to digest, and incredibly versatile in carnivore baking. Egg whites are the backbone of this recipe. They give the Swiss roll its soft, tender rise. If you are using a stand mixer like I am in this recipe, while the egg whites are being whipped, to save time, you can start mixing together the other ingredients, which I'll be talking about in the next section. Here, I'm sprinkling gelatin over a little bit of cool water to let it bloom. This step allows the gelatin to fully hydrate so it dissolves smoothly into the recipe without clumps. I'm using gelatin from pasture-raised cows, which means the animals were grass-fed and raised more naturally, resulting in a cleaner and more nutrient-rich product. It also creates a softer, silkier texture in the final dessert. In a separate bowl, we'll blend the egg yolks. Then add the sour cream and either the mascarpone cheese or strained cottage cheese. When using cottage cheese, be sure to remove as much liquid as possible before adding it to the mixture. Then drop in the bloom gelatin. Ideally, you are quicker than I am here and your bloom gelatin is still liquidy for an easier mix. If not, just go ahead and chop it up and blend it well to create that smooth texture that we're looking for. And finally, the egg white powder and baking soda. If you are a flex carnivore and you'd like the roll to have a gentle sweetness, you can add a bit of honey and vanilla here too. Blend everything until it is smooth and creamy. And then we're going to add in a pinch or two of salt. I like using the Redmond Real Salt brand for its naturally diverse trace minerals and clean makeup. Now we'll bring the two components together. Fold the whipped egg whites into the yolk mixture in 3 additions, working slowly and gently. Don't rush this part, as it is slow and delicate, just lifting and folding. It's what gives the Swiss roll its tender, melt-in-the-mouth texture. We want to keep as much air in the batter as possible. The texture should feel light and airy, but still spreadable. Here I'm using a platinum silicone baking sheet with edges. You can absolutely use parchment paper for this recipe, but I'm demonstrating it on a platinum silicone baking sheet today. Platinum silicone is heat stable and non-toxic, so it doesn't release chemicals the way some coated parchment paper can at high temperatures. It also creates a beautifully even surface for the cake, which helps with baking it flat and rolling smoothly without tearing. Aside from stainless steel and wood, I also use platinum silicone utensils for cooking and baking. Gently pour the mixture and spread the batter evenly onto the prepared pan, making sure it reaches all the way to the edges. When you're done, give the pan a slight jiggle to ensure that it's evenly spread. Then bake for 15 to 18 minutes, just until the top is slightly golden and the cake springs back when you touch it. To make the jelly cubes, we're using unflavored gelatin, warm water for blooming, either water or heavy cream for richer cubes, optional raw honey, and optional vanilla extract. To start the jelly cubes, I'm going to sprinkle the gelatin over a bit of cold water and let it bloom. This step only takes a minute, but it's what creates that smooth, bouncy texture that we want in the final dessert. For the warm water, you don't want it boiling, just warm enough to melt the gelatin. Pour in the warm water up to the 1 cup mark. Then stir in the bloom gelatin until everything is completely dissolved and the solution becomes clear. For the mold, I'm using one made of platinum silicone by Silicomart. As mentioned earlier, when it comes to silicone, platinum cured is the safest option, especially for anything heated or chilled. And I'll add a link in the description if you'd like to explore this brand. Now go ahead and pour part of the mixture into a shallow dish, keeping the layer thin so that it sets quickly and evenly. If you want a little variety, you can stir in a splash of heavy cream into the remaining mixture. It gives the cubes a softer, more velvety texture. You can also add a touch of raw honey or vanilla here for a flex carnivore version. Once everything is mixed well, pour the rest of the gelatin into the shallow dishes, and then they're ready to be chilled in the refrigerator. After 1 to 2 hours, it will have firmed up beautifully. And here we have our chilled gelatin, beautifully set and perfectly firm. Go ahead and gently push each piece out of the mold. Platinum silicone really makes this part so easy. Don't worry if a corner catches or a piece looks uneven, we'll be cutting them up into small cubes anyway. These little squares add a soft, delicate chew inside the Swiss roll, giving you that satisfying contrast without using any plant-based fillers. Gelatin is also a wonderful addition nutritionally. It's rich in amino acids that support gut health, joint comfort, and healthy skin. Because the gelatin is sourced from pastured animals, you're getting a much cleaner and more bioavailable form. It also helps stabilize blood sugar and keeps you feeling full longer, all without adding starches or gums. In recipes like this, it adds texture and nourishment at the same time, which is a lovely bonus. To make the cake filling, we'll be using heavy cream, and for flex carnivores, you can add a touch of raw honey and vanilla extract if you like a sweeter finish. There are 2 versions of this filling. a soft cloud-like option, and a firmer version which is good for piping. Here, we're making the soft option. But you can find the full recipe card, including the firm filling, at carnivorecollections.com. I like to start the mixer on low, letting the cream gently loosen, and then gradually bringing it up to medium-high as it thickens into soft peaks. Organic heavy cream isn't just delicious, it's rich in fats that aid in stabilizing blood sugar, supporting hormone health, and creating long-lasting satiety without any inflammatory additives. And here is our cooled cake sheet. Notice how easily it peels away from the platinum silicone mat. The cake structure is set and yet still soft. It has just the right bend to create that beautiful swirl when we roll it up. We'll start by spreading the filling evenly across the cake. Take your time here. A slow, gentle spread helps the roll come together beautifully later on. As you work, be sure to leave about a half-inch border around all the edges. Once we start rolling, the filling will naturally move outward, and this little margin keeps everything neatly contained. A bit of patience in this step makes all the difference in how polished and seamless the final roll looks. Next, add the jelly cubes on top, letting them fall naturally across the surface. These cubes will add that perfect little bite of texture and richness. Now it's time to make the roll. Start at the top and roll gently but firmly, letting the cake guide you into its shape. If you use parchment paper, peel it back slowly as you go to keep the surface smooth. Don't rush. The slower you move, the cleaner and tighter the roll will be. And remember, this part is meant to feel enjoyable, so just take your time and let the cake come together naturally. As you roll, you'll feel the cake becoming more structured with each turn. That's exactly what we want. By the time you reach the end, the whole roll should feel soft, stable, and ready to chill. Once it's rolled, wrap the whole thing up in fresh parchment paper or plastic wrap and pop it into the fridge for an hour or two so it can continue to firm up. And here is our chilled Swiss roll, beautifully set and ready for its finishing touch. Instead of icing sugar, we're using a light dusting of heavy cream powder to give that surface a soft, snowy look. Subtle, elegant, and fully carnivore friendly. You can use a sifter or a dusting wand like the one I'm using here. It keeps the powder light and even, creating a gorgeous final texture. Add a spoonful of cream powder into the wand and gently dust the top of the roll, letting it fall like a fine, creamy snowfall over the surface. And here's the final Swiss roll. Rested, chilled, and ready to enjoy. The texture is delicate, the layers are clean, and the whole cake has a gentle elegance to it. It's a beautiful reminder that carnivore treats can feel indulgent, refined, and truly satisfying. When you're ready to serve, take a sharp knife and slice slowly, wiping the blade between each cut to keep those spirals clean. And now for my favorite moment, taking the first slice. You can see how cleanly the knife moves through the roll, thanks to the chilling that helped everything set just right. When I lift this slice, you can see and really appreciate the swirls of cream and the little gems of jelly inside. It's such a beautiful contrast of textures. And whether you enjoy this on a quiet evening or share it with someone you love, it's the kind of treat that makes any moment feel a little more special. And truly, there's something so comforting in a treat that's simple, wholesome, and made entirely with intention. Thank you for spending the time in the kitchen with me today. If you'd like more recipes, guides, and gentle inspiration for carnivore-based living, you can visit carnivorecollections.com. And if this video brought you a bit of joy, Feel free to like, subscribe, or share it with someone who might enjoy it too.